Okay, is my screen visible to all?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yesterday we did with wall editing, wall edit type parameters. We add layers and we saw the functions of the layers. Okay, and we also saw the function of the walls as well. To continue that topic of wall editing parameters only. Okay, so I showed you about these walls and we saw about its editing. So we come into the edit type, we can add the layers. Okay, we can then even define the wrappings of the layers, the function of the layers. Okay, that we have done about the construction editing in the wall edit type options basically. Okay, moving ahead, there was another dropout that says about graphics, and in graphics it says core scale fill pattern and core scale fill color basically. Okay, what does this do actually? So let me go into my plan view. Okay, so I'm going to come into my floor plan or to the ground floor plan. Okay, wherever these walls have already been created. Okay, so here we can see the wall detailings. Okay, so I'm able to see that wall details. Now in wall details, if I come over here in the bottom, it says detail levels. It is right now we have three detail level. One is coarse, medium, and fine. Now if I do coarse detailings, you'll be see I'm not able to see the plaster details or anything, but I'm just able to see some hatch pattern line basically. Let me just create a simple wall, a similar wall, straight line wall, so that you can understand. You can see now if I do coarse detailing, you can see I'm getting just a simple hatch patterns but not getting the detail of the plasters or anything like that. Now if I switch this to medium details, I'll be start seeing some of the detailings of walls, but not much detailings of the paint or anything like that. Okay, now if I switch this to fine detailing, I'll be able to see clearly, more clear, with fine details of plasters and paints also basically. So we have three detail levels. We have fine detail levels, we have the coarse detail level, and we have the medium detail levels. Okay, now if I select this wall, if I come into the edit type, and it says over here coarse skill fill pattern basically. So which means what कि अगर मैंने यहाँ पे detail level को coarse रखा तो कौन सा hatch pattern यहाँ पे show होना चाहिए basically. So supposingly it's all bricks, so I'm going to tell him that instead of diagonal up, I'm going to pick up a pattern of brickwork, and click on OK. And if I click on apply and now I click on OK, so now it will show me that pattern basically. Okay, that pattern of bricking works. Okay, just the bricking work pattern, not the detailings of the plasters or the detailing of the paint at all. Okay, and once again, if I do that, switch this to a different one. Maybe if I select diagonal cross, click on apply and OK, so it will apply the diagonal cross. Okay, if I've set the detail level to coarse, now if I set the detail level to fine, it will change it. Okay, you can see now it changes from diagonal cross to the pattern of hatches that we have used into the edit type basically. That okay, whatever type we have used for the bricks. Okay, so it's going to use that cut pattern. Okay, but if I do a coarse as a detail level, it will give me diagonal cross. So you can change that. And maybe if I want a solid color, I can take solid fill as well. Okay, so it will give me solid fills when I do coarse. Okay, so now if I do that, you can see now all of the walls become totally completely black out. That means these are all in solid pattern. Now if I switch this to fine, it will show me fine detailings. Okay, so you can select and apply the graphical materials. Okay, when you are setting the detail level to be coarse. Okay, so maybe when I'm using coarse detailing, I'll tell him that I want it to appear as bricks. Okay, apply. Okay, so switching this to coarse, it will just show me brick patterns. Okay, now supposingly this is my concrete wall, so I can tell that okay, when I switch this to coarse detailing, that should be still concrete, and maybe we wanted a solid color instead of that, and you can click on apply and okay. So when I do coarse detailing, it will show me black solid, but if I do fine, it will show me the concrete materials. Okay, so for that it is giving the coarse graphic materials that you can set it off. Okay, and I switch this to fine, it will show me the fine details. Okay, then the next thing was given about the analytical properties. So over here, the analytical properties, maybe have it automatically sets the heat transfer, the thermal resistance, thermal mass, absorptions, and roughness by himself. Okay, so we don't have to provide the analytical properties. It takes by default whatever is the project location or the site location. It's as per, it takes the condition of the site, and it's taking the absorptions of the properties of the brick as per the site resistance basically. So the thermal resistance as per the site would be of 0.1852 cubic square millimeters per cubic wattage. Okay, so that's the unit that is calculating. Then it's the thermal mass. The absorption value, you can change it. So if you want more absorptions of these wetlands basically there, so you can create more absorptions, and the roughness of the bricks, that if you want to increase. But I'm not going to change anything in analytical properties. Let the software do himself only. Okay, and later on this can be changed by the structure engineers, so we are not really interested right now to change anything in the analytical properties basically there. Okay, the default structural material is made of bricks. You can see over here the default material is brick. Structural material says, now if I off this, it's gonna not give me that material information over here. So I'm going to make sure that this structural material properties is on, so that it displays me over here that the structural material of that wall is brick walls. Okay, even for the concrete wall, if you have created, you can see the structural material is made of concrete. Okay, if I come up over here, say, and don't say structural material off, it will not display me the structural material. So gonna have to on this so that it displays me the structural material of the walls, right? Then the next information is given about identity data. Now in identity data, there is like given like type image, okay, keynotes, model, manufacturer, type comment, URL, descriptions, assembly code, type mark, fire ratings, and cost basically. Okay, so you can give the type image. So the type image, if you have an example image basically there, that what kind of this wall would be made of basically there. So if you have reference image, you can put up in type image basically, just like we did in the marks over here. Okay, then you can fill up the keynotes, what keynote you wanted to provide for this wall. So we can provide that this is going to be made of concrete, so we can select keynote concrete. In concrete we can take concrete, we're going to take concrete cast in place. Okay, concrete, and click on OK. So that's the keynote number for that construction of that wall. Then model number, if you have any. Then the manufacturer, so who is the person who's going to make that wall, so you can write the contractor's name. Then the type comment, so what type of wall is this? So it's a retaining wall, so you can write type comment as retaining. You can write the URL. So if the company that is making that wall, which supposedly L&T is there, you can write the company's email ID or the web address. Okay, then you can write the description for that wall, the assembly code, what assembly code you're going to use for that wall basically there. So it's going to be assembly code of shell. It's going to be like superstructure. For maybe you can use substructures. And maybe you can use foundations, or you can use basement constructions. We can use foundations, okay, standard foundations. Which other type of foundation it is there? It's a foundation wall, or it's a primitive insulation. Okay, now in foundation wall also, what type of foundation wall is there? It's made of CIP or CMU or woods. CIP means concrete in place, basically. So we can use this one, concrete in place. And then we can click on OK. So that's the assembly code. Then we can write a type mark for that specific wall. So if this is your, let's say, the retaining wall, we can give a type mark over here, RT-100 as your type mark. Fire ratings, if you have any fire ratings to this wall, you can give that. The construction cost for this wall, you can provide the cost of construction. Okay, you can fill this cost data information later on also, but the other information you can provide, like type image, the keynotes, the model number, the manufacturer, and other information right now, so that if you are creating a similar type of wall, so supposingly if I'm creating a similar type of wall once again, so for to select that wall, I'm gonna click on this button which says create similar, and maybe I'm going to take a line wall maybe over here. So a similar wall has been created. Okay, and when I select this wall, and if I come into the edit type, you can see the information still exists, and will keep on remaining till जितने भी आप copies of walls बनाओगे सारे wall में ये information रहेगी basically. And when you do schedulings as well, that information would be preserved in your schedulings as well. So now if you can come into field editings, you can add the type marks as well. Type mark, add, you can add the assembly codes. So you can see these walls for having type marks and the assembly codes as well. So that can be used for construction detailing purposes. And we can, when we take out working drawings for these walls, for example, if we take out a section view of these walls, so this is my section line. I'm going to select that section line, right click, go to view, so it's just to find details. And when I come into the annotate tab and give a keynote, material keynote on an element keynote to it, you can see it's an assembly code has been put up. Okay, now instead of giving an assembly code, we want the assembly names actually basically there. So we can come up over here, we can come into keynote settings, and we can tell it that okay, we want it at the location so we just have to come into these options is settings, we need to come to manage, and the manage additional settings. Assembly codes, absolutely okay. You can come up into other settings, keynotes should be there. To be ready to be then.
So the assembly code was the last option in the previous tab which you opened.
Okay. It's the same actually. If I come over here, there's settings, the same tab. But if I wanted to actually, make sure that the assembly code should come as name, not as numbered. I have an option over here, text, in fact, here we go. So now it tells me that is concrete cast in place concrete actually. Okay, so during the schedulings or maybe the working drawings, we can keynote it and then mark it and give it that what sort of wall is there basically, that what element is there, what material code is there basically there. Okay, I can give material code as concrete as well. Once again, casting place concrete. Once again it's coming as numbered. We can, if you want to change that as text, you can come over here and change that as text as well. So the key element is also as concrete cast in place, and the material also is concrete cast in place. So we can provide the working drawings details of the walls by providing the assembly codes basically. So when I select over here, come into the edit type, it's this assembly code keynote, you can see. Okay, and I can switch this keynote. Maybe if I give concrete reinforcement, and now if I click on apply and OK, as you can see it tells that, okay, so that's concrete reinforcement element, and the material is concrete cast in place basically. Okay, so it's going to have some reinforcements, and the material that's going to use is concrete basically. So you can provide the keynotings or the assembly codes. Even in assembly codes, you can provide what assembly code you wanted. Okay, and the type marks. So you can get the type mark as well. So if I come into tag by category, and right now it doesn't shows me any tagging basically there. So we can select this, come into the edit family, shows me that this is edit label, that's mark in fact. So I'm going to remove mark. Instead of mark, we're going to choose type marks, apply that, and okay, then we're going to take load into project and close. We go Arctic hardware. Like that, clearly show our working drawings. For that specific part of your walls. Crop this region. So done, you can off that cropping region. You can see that nice complete detail of that specific wall with keynotings of element and keynote of material and the tagging. Okay.
So could you show the tagging again? It was too fast.
We'll come into that topic right now. I just wanted to explain what does tag in fact does. Okay, there's a completely process to make a tag. Now, okay, so okay, I have already made it the tag family. That's why it's available in my PC. In your PC, it might be not be available because you haven't created that family. So we're going to come into the tag family categories when we learn about keynotings and annotation part basically. Okay. So just simply you just have to pick this annotate tab में से take tag by category and just tap it over there and it will add a tag in factly. But your tag would be showing empty. वहाँ पे question mark लिखा हुआ आएगा. That's because in your edit family, when you come into edit family, this label was absolutely wrong. So we select that label, we click on edit label, and we remove that label call as mark, and we insert a label call as type mark basically. So from your there was mark in factly, so we're gonna take this, remove it, and we're gonna add type mark instead of markings. Then we can click on apply and click on OK, and then click on load into project and close. Say no to this, and we'll automatically apply that type mark to that specific wall. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's about your identity data of the walls. Okay, so that's how you can edit the features of the walls basically. Now I'll give you an example. Let's say if you want to create a wall that's having one-sided as completely tiles maybe. So we're gonna create a wall, this feature. let's take an example of this. So we have these wall detailing, so we're going to create these wall detail. So we have blocks that is of let's say 100 blocks, then we have 15 plaster with water coating, 1.5 of wall paint with white wall paint with water coatings. We have another 50 plasters plus water coating plus 8 of tiles mortar and 12 of wall tiles of 450 by 450 each. Okay, so we want to create this specific wall detail. Okay, so we're gonna create this. We're gonna come into the floor plan. Okay, I'm gonna take a wall command from here, and I'm gonna take 140 masonry wall, maybe pick that. But I'm gonna go into the edit type and I'm gonna duplicate this wall. I'm gonna call this as 100 blocks with tiles interior. Okay, so that's a new name that I've given to that type of wall. Then I'm going to come into the edit structure. I'm going to switch on the preview mode on. Okay, now the core thickness would be of 100 so I'm going to provide 100 Then we wanted of 15 plasters on both the ends, so add insert a layer of plaster 15 the external side, and another going to go down. That's going to be 15 plaster of the internal side, both sides, and this would be having a material of wall plaster. So I've already created. I'm going to apply that, and then the functionality would be set to be finished too, because that's going to be both on the interior sides. Okay, but the plasters are of 15 so internal plasters both would be finishing materials. So both goes into finish twos. That stays as structure. Then what we wanted was a paint of 1.5 Now with plaster we wanted water coating as well, so we might have to add another layer of 0 thickness of a membranes layer, and the material would be the same. The material would be the wall plaster only. So to take the wall plaster material to the membranes layer as well. So we have this plaster plus the water coating. Then we wanted another layer of wall paint of 1.5 mm. 1.5 of layer has been added, and that paint is supposed to be white paint, so use wall white paint supposedly this side only. Okay, the interior side one, and the function would also go to finish too because it's going to face on the interior sides. Okay, and on the other side we wanted 8 tile mortar. So mortar here, so we got with the plaster. Okay, we wanted a water coating as well, I think so. Yeah, plaster plus water coating. So I'm going to insert a layer first, membranes layer, 0 thickness, same material of plaster, and then I'm going to insert another layer down of 8 of tile mortar. So that's 8 material. That would be for tile mortar. So we don't have the material, so we have to create that. So come over here and create new material. Write it to the data. Name, we're going to name that as AR dash. The description, you can write the description, you can provide the class category as well. Okay, manufacturer name, model number, cost, and everything, you can provide it up over here. Graphic information, I'm going to use render appearances. Surface pattern, I'm going to give a surface pattern of a little bit of sand ends, and even in cut pattern I'm going to use a little bit of sands. And appearances, come to appearance library, open close asset browser, come to the appearances, go to concretes. This is sandblaster. That doesn't look right. Can use this non-uniform warm gray. This looks perfect. Okay, so it's still updating the preview. Then click on apply. Should get updated. It's going to take a little while to update. Here we go. It's updated. Now click on apply. So get that tile mortar material assigned it. Now mortar is supporting material, so you can provide either into substrates or either you can take as a finishing material also. So I'm going to take it as a finishing material. Insert one more layer. That would be for the tiles actually. So we wanted a 12 mm of wall tiles of 450 by 450 square in fact. So the thickness would be 12 mm. Wanted to apply a wall tiles. Okay, so tile, that's for the interior sides, finish 2 once again, and we want to create a material. Now before I start creating a material, I'm going to download a texture of tile. So let's go and download a tile texture. Maybe I'm going to use these Praga wall tiles. Less tile patterns, I could use it. Maybe this one or this one, whichever tile suits you. Let me use this one. Right, so I'm going to save this image. Now always remember, wherever you are saving the image, you save it into a project location wherever your project file is going to get located. Okay, so I'm going to currently save on my desktop. I've created a folder called as PIM solution class. Okay, so I'm going to save it over there. I've already created a folder called as materials. So I'm going to save it in the material folder. Okay, save it over there. Okay, so that image is being saved over there. Now I have to create that material and have to apply the property of that. So to create that material, I'm going to click on that option, and this time I'm going to click on create new material. Give the identity data as AR dash wall tiles. That's that. In the description, I can write down 450 by 450 Praga tiles. You can give the class category as ceramics, the manufacturer name, the model number, the cost per tiles. Maybe you're getting for 85 rupees per square feet. You can write down 85 rupees per square feet. Okay. Give the graphic informations, like user interappearances. And in surface pattern, we should see the square of 450 by 450. So over here in surface pattern, I'm going to search for a square hatch pattern. So I don't find it over here anywhere, square hatch pattern. So come into models, and here you'll find square patterns. We have 600 by 600, we have 50 mm square, we have, but we don't have 450 mm anywhere. So we don't have a 450 mm square. The last we have is 250. So I'm going to select that 250 mm square, and there is an option over here that says duplicate fill pattern. So I'm going to click on this option over here that is to duplicate it. Okay, so duplicate, and I'm going to name this as 450 mm square. So I duplicated and named as 450. I'm going to change the line spacing size to 0.5. 2.45. Becomes my 450 square. Okay, hatch pattern. Click on OK. Get that. So now in surface view, means in the elevation view, we will be able to see that tile size of 450 by 450. And in cut pattern, maybe I want to see that as a diagonal cross of 1.5 mm. So diagonal cross 1.5 mm in the cut pattern with a bit of, let's say, a bit of sand particles. So to double hatch pattern I'm using in the cut pattern, but in the surface pattern I'm just using single hatch pattern, not using backgrounds. Okay, then I'm going to come into the appearances, and in appearances we wanted to apply the image that we have downloaded. So I'm going to click on this little icon at the arrow. Okay, so there's a little button over here, arrow button, and I'm going to select tiles from here because we are creating wall tiles. So we're creating tiles. If we were creating wooden, we would select wood. If we were creating some sort of liquid material, we would have selected noise. But so I'm going to take it as tiles option from here, tiles. So when I take that, I get this texture editor dialog box. And now in the texture editor dialog box, I'm going to take this as the tile count is telling me 4 by 4, which I'm going to remove this and say 1 by 1 tile count. Okay, because we just wanted to view 1 by 1 tile. Okay, so that's the tile count, needs to be 1 by 1. Okay, per row and per column. We don't want to divide this tile into 4 by 4 parts. Okay, and the size of this tile is currently 0.30 meters, so we want to make it as 0.45, so make it as 0.45. It's 450 mm. Okay, so now it's the tiles are of 450 by 450. That's perfect. And now what we want is that we wanted to apply the texture that we have downloaded. We don't want this gray color material inside this tile, so we got to come into this option which says tile appearances. So when I expand this tile appearances, we have an option that we can give color to the tiles. Okay, and if you don't want to apply color to the tiles, if you want to apply the image to the tile, there's a little again arrow option, and instead of color we can select image. Okay, so when I click on image, the browser will open up, means it will ask me where that image file is. So you can come into desktop, come to folder, wherever that folder was, and you can select that tile image. Then you can click on open. Now that tile image size is also of 0.30 meters, which we're going to change that to 0.40 450. So we're going to change that tile size change. Okay, so that's perfect. I'm happy with that. And we can come into this option over here and scroll back to tiles, so you can see the tile. Okay, and the point is this gaps are there between the tiles, which I actually wanted to reduce it or make that to be 0. So I'll come into grout appearances, and we can tell that we don't want any grout spacings. We gotta give this to 0. So grout spacing 0. If you want to apply any grout spacings, you can give grout spacings as well. If I give like 0.1, 0.0, 1.0, like at least of 1 mm at least, you can give the grout spacing. What color of grout spacing you want, you can provide the grout spacing color as well. And once you're done, you can click on done, and you'll be able to see the tile forming. Okay, now this is showing me in a spherical format. I want to see it, how does it looks on the wall. So I'm going to come into this little icon of vase shape over here. I'll go click on scenes, and then I'm going to select walls from here, and it will show me the preview of the wall. That's how it's going to look on the wall. Okay, maybe I'm going to give a little bit less glossiness, so reduce the glossiness value. If you want to make it more glossy, I can apply more glossiness, so you can adjust the glossiness. Okay, and if you want to make it a little bit reflective, you can on reflectance, reduce the directions and obliques and everything so that it can be less glossy and more glossy, how much you want it. You can play with these values, okay, to see the effect. Happy with that? If you're happy, you can click on apply. If not, you can still edit these images. You can click on the edit button and can still edit it, the tiles and everything. Happy, so we click on apply and then click on OK. So now we get that tile texture. Okay, and if I click on OK, and one time OK, and now if I create a wall, so this wall has one side it has tiles and mortar and everything. Okay, now if I switch this to 3D view, here we have. You can clearly see that grouts as well. And if I come into the elevation view, you can see that tile size. And if I measure this tile sizes, square sizes, it's perfect. And that's perfect. 450 by 450. Let's switch this mode to fine details or to realistics. We can see realistic material forms as well. We have a nice detail wall, tile detail wall. Okay, so on one side we have the paint. You can select this wall, you can come to edit type, you can provide the functions of this wall. So that can be my interior wall, and wrapping at ends, I can use this wrapping of the paints on the ends, and even the wrapping of the paint on the inserts. Okay, so paint that's going to go on the end of that wall. If you want a tile to become in the end of the wall, you can select that, and tell it that wrapping at the ends can be interior. So my tiles would be turning and applying to the end of that walls. So this wall has the entire feature. Okay, tracking cross, that's fine. Black color, that's okay with that. So graphic information is okay, structural materials provided, analytical properties given, everything has been provided. The identity data is missing, so we have to provide the identity data for this walls. Okay, so you can provide the keynotes, the type marks, the manufacturer, and every information of that specified walls. Okay, so you can create your own texture materials also, and you can apply it to the objects or to the walls or to the floor, any of the element whichever you create. The method would be similar, only thing is the command would be different.
Sir, all
Yeah.
these properties we'll have to change before we start drawing the plan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that we
correct.
don't have to edit all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So if you created the plan and then later on want to change, you can change that as well. Okay. But before we do the scheduling निकालने से पहले ये properties सारे apply होने चाहिए basically. The best advice is that while you are creating only, apply these properties so that later on you don't have to worry and apply these properties. You don't miss out anything basically. Okay.
Yes, sir. And so, like for each wall, we'll have to give these properties, like each type of wall, like 150
Yeah.
mm, 100 mm.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, supposingly this is an 100 block walls, but if I want to make a similar wall, but the core thickness would be of 150 basically. Okay. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to simply just duplicate this wall and going to rename this wall as, instead of 100, I'm going to name this as 150. And going to come into the edit structure and just going to change this thickness, core thickness to 150. Gotta click on OK. Okay, the rest everything remains same. Only thing is that the core thickness has changed from 100 to 150 now basically. Okay, so I have two similar kind of wall with similar properties, but only thing is that the core thickness are varying basically there. So one can be of 100 and one can be of 150. Both the properties are same. Okay, only the thickness varies now. Okay, so if you have created one and
Yes.
if you have applied the entire properties, you can duplicate it and keep it on the next type of wall also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next thing is about wall openings. Now, wall openings means if you want to create any cutout in the wall, okay, so that your ducts or maybe your openings to the walls can pass out through it. Basically, there any sort of ducting work or electrical work if you want to create a cutout in the walls. Okay, so we have to use the opening commands, basically the wall opening commands. Now, if you want to use wall opening commands, we have to come into the architectural tab, and under the architectural tab you'll find openings. Okay, and in opening you will find wall opening. Okay, so I can take the wall opening command and I'll select which wall I want to create an opening. So maybe this wall, I can click on it, then what opening size you want to create, you can draw it and it creates an opening in the wall. Okay, now if I look into my 3D view, you find that there is an cutout in the wall, which I can select and drag these arrows and define where I want this cutout, maybe right over here. So it's a cutout there, and maybe if I want another cutout, so I can just select this wall, draw it. Okay, that. So you can provide the cutouts as well. So any walls that you want to create a cutout, you can simply select this architectural tab. You can take walls opening and you can draw a cutout. Now the problem of these cutouts are that they are in a shape of rectangle only or a square shape. But if I want to cut out, let's say a circular cutout or elliptical cutout, any different type of cutout shape we wanted. So by using the opening command, wall opening command, it's not possible. So we might have to use a different method over here. So if you want a cutout that could be having a different profile shape, so for that we're going to use edit profile option. So how do I get edit profile options? So when I select the wall, in the modify tab, I'll see this option which says edit profile. Okay, so when I click on edit profile, it converts my wall into 2D line. So you can see now this wall becomes a 2D line wall. Okay, now I can draw a shape, maybe a circular shape. You can provide the radius to that shape as well. Maybe if I give 0.2, 0.2, maybe if I want a shape of polygon shape, I can use a polygon shape as well. And if I hit on the finish editing mode, it will create a cutout of that shape that we have drawn. Okay, so any shape that you want to draw it, you can draw it. Maybe if I want to draw an arc shape opening, you can even draw an arc shape opening as well. Okay, so I can use this command, take the edit profile and I can create lines over here, let's say from here up to the height of let's say 2.1 meters. And I could take another 0.7, maybe I'm going to draw it up till here. Maybe I want to draw an arc on the top basically, so I can take an arc tool, draw literally an arc shape. Move this arc exactly to the mid of here. I don't need these lines, so I'm going to delete this, drag this line, hover it up over here, keep it up over here. That's it. We can create an opening shape, an arc opening shape up to 2.1 meter heighted. And if I click on the finish edit mode, I'll get an error. Here we go. So the error says, okay, line cannot be intersecting each other. The highlighted lines currently intersects. Okay, so which means over here you can see the loop is not going properly. Okay, we are getting an intersecting line. So I need to cut this line. I need to remove this bottom line. Okay, so to remove this bottom line, I'm going to come into the modify tab, and in the modify tab you will find an option which says split element. Okay, so I'm going to select split element, and when I take the split element tool, I'm going to tick on this option which says delete inner segment, and ये point को और ये point को delete कर देंगे, means cut कर देंगे. So now you can see that intersecting line is gone. Now the shape is in a loop format. Okay, and now if I hit on the finish edit mode, we are having an opening of whatever shape that you are prefer to have it. Okay, we can modify this more. If I click on edit profile, I can make this wall a little bit like go a little bit curved that way. And maybe I can drag this line all the way to that endpoint, and then if I click on the finish edit mode, go. So the wall becomes a little bit like slant on the ends basically. Maybe of the top we can want to edit it. We can come into edit profile and draw the shapes. I don't want these intersecting lines, so I'm going to take the split element tool, split element. Going to make sure that take delete in a segment, point, 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 stems, and then we can enter the finish mode. So various different shapes of walls. Okay, so that's different shapings of walls that you can create it. Now if I select this wall, and there is an next to this edit profile option, we have this option which says reset profile. So when I click on reset profile, whatever profile that I've edited, it will reset it. Okay, and maybe if I want to remove this cutout opening as well, so I'm going to select that cutout opening, and you're going to press delete. Everything is back to normal basically. Okay, so maybe if I want to remove this opening, so select the opening, make sure you only select the opening, not the wall. So here it is, opening has been selected, press delete, and it will go away. Okay, and from here as well you can select the opening, press delete, goes out. Okay, so that's wall openings and edit profiles of the walls. Okay, so if you click on the wall, you get the edit profile, and whatever profile editing you want to do it on the wall, you can apply the editings. Make sure that it doesn't go outside the spaces that you have created. Maybe if I created another concentric circle, and if I apply, there we go. Odd, it happens. You might have to create supports. Now we get an error that these needs to be trimmed. So there we are. Any shape and design that you wanted inside the walls, you can take it off. Okay, if you don't want it, you can reset it. Okay, and any openings that you want to create it cutouts, you can take the opening, wall opening, and you can draw a shape. So like this, you can adjust the arrows. You can copy these opening shapes. Some sort of art designs or anything like that. Okay. So you have various methods. Select the openings and you can provide the height also, so the base offset and the top offset and everything. So from the base it's taking like from the top it's taking like minus 200 mm, from the base it's taking like 100 mm. Okay, and it starts from the ground level and ends on the first level basically. Okay, maybe from both the elevating, maybe I'm going to give negative 200 mm, and from the base also 200 mm. Apply it. Just going to keep it equally. So you can provide the sizes and the information as well. Okay, there is another methods to add openings in the walls as well. So if you want to add wall openings, if you come into the architectural tab, under the architectural tab you'll find the build tool, and under the build tool you'll find the door command. Okay, so when you take the door command, we can insert a door actually. So that's the door. Okay, of different sizes are available. So if you come into types, you have different sizes, but maybe I don't want to insert a door, I want to just an opening. Okay, so if you want to insert just an opening, so when you take the architectural tab door command, there is an option over here which says load family. Okay, so click on this option which says load family, and when I click on load family, load family dialog box will open up, and from here I'm going to take the English folder, and from the English folder we're going to take it the doors, and we're going to take under the door folder I'm going to search for door opening. Okay, so here it is, metric door opening. Select that, click on open, and now if you can see there is door openings available. Different sizes are there, so we can take this like 915 by 2 sorry 2032 mm. I can select that and I can apply it over here. Okay, so just the door opening. From the plan view also you'll see an opening mark, and over here wherever there are doors, so we have the door marks basically. Okay, you can select that opening, we can come into the edit type, and these are parametrics. So if I click on the edit type, I can change the width of the door or the height of the door as well. Okay, so the width of the door and the height of the door. Supposing if I want to make the height of the door as 2100 or the opening of that as 2100, I can select this. To first duplicate it and go to give this as 900 by 2100. So you can provide the width as 900 and the height as 2100. I'm going to click on OK. Okay with that. Oh, sorry, it is in meters. I didn't provide it the meter sign. Fine. Okay, so here we go. So we have that opening of 9 by 2100. maybe I want to apply the same opening over here. So again, I can take the door command and pick the opening of 900 by 2100, apply it to this wall. There we go. So yeah, opening and opening on this walls, and we have a door as well. Okay. Look at 3D view, you can see that opening. Okay. You can create an arc opening as well. So if you want to create an arc shape opening instead of a rectangle opening, so we need to create a family of a door. Okay, so let's create a family of a door with an arc shape opening. So I'm going to come into the file menu, new family. Okay, so we are creating an arc opening actually. So family, and take into the English folder, and from here we gotta select a family template. So we want to create an opening for the doors. So we're gonna search for metric door. Here it is, metric dot door RFT. So this is the family template that we're going to use to create an arc shape opening. Metric dot RFT, and here we have, open that family. Okay, now by default it has created these frames actually, so we don't want the frames to appear, so we can select that frame and press delete. We don't want this projection frame, delete that course. So this is the plan view of that specific opening, which is the width is going to be of 1000 millimeters. We can change that later on. I'm just going to come into the interior elevation view. Interior elevation view may enable. You can see the shape of this opening is rectangle, which I don't want a rectangle shape. We wanted an arc shape. So we're going to select that opening cut. Opening cut ko select karke, we're going to click on this button which says edit sketch. And instead of having a rectangle cut on the top, we're going to have an arc. Cut out, we're going to delete this line, select this magenta line, drag it all the way to the end point of this arc. Okay. So we have this arc cutout shape, and I'm happy, so I'm going to click on the finish edit mode, finish, and here we have. So instead of having a rectangle shape of opening, we'll be having an arc shape of opening. So I'm going to save this family now, save, I'm going to save it on a specific location. तो इसे डेस्कटॉप पे एक स्पेसिफिक फोल्डर में सेव कर लेते हैं. Call this family, call this as arc 1000 by 100 or 2000 it was, sorry. I can click on this button which says load into project and close. So maybe I want to replace this opening with an arc opening, so I'm going to select that opening. I'm going to come into type list and select the arc opening instead of the one I have it. Maybe I want to make change in the height of this arc opening as well. So I can select that arc opening, come into the edit type, and duplicate this first. Call this as 900 in width and 21. Change the height from 2000 to 2100 mm, and the width as 900 mm. Click on OK, and here we go. So we have two different arc openings now. We have one of 1000 by 2000, and we have 900 by 2100. Okay, and we have a rectangle opening as well. So if you want to use the rectangle openings, you can use rectangle openings as well. Or if you want to use the arc openings, you can use the arc openings. Okay, so we can create our type of opening families as well. Okay. You can use it. Okay, in our projects. or you can use it by creating the edit profile or by creating the wall openings. Okay, so till here is all clear. Openings and edit profiles and
So
wall
in
openings.
the
Yeah,
plan view, there were two arrows which were shown. What were those two arrows?
these arrows. Are you talking about these arrows? Hello, Isha, your voice is breaking down.
Talking about the ones in the plan view.
When I was creating the family.
No, sir. You just now opened them in the plan view on the door. There were two arrows. So what were they? Like if you um, click on the door in the plan view.
In the plan view, okay. Click on the door. These arrows.
Yes, sir.
These are for flipping actually. So if
Yes.
I want to flip the hinge on the other side or flip the swing, for flipping directions. Okay.
Okay. And so they also appear on the wall. So is it for the same purpose?
Yes, it is for the same purpose only. If you want to flip the hinges from left to right or right to left, basically.
Okay.
We have these features of editings of walls. Okay. Okay. I think I'll keep it till here because I'm going to give you these assignments of creating these different types of walls. Okay. So I'll share you this file today, and you have to create all these different types of walls, okay, that I have created over here, okay, in Revit. Okay, I've mentioned all the detailings of the materials, okay, that needs to be added. Okay, to give you a couple of more as well. Okay, so might be I can give you 20 different types of walls that are being needed for creating any construction drawings, basically. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So can you send the recording also so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do
I'll
it?
send you the both the recordings, today's and yesterday's as well. Okay.
Yes.
Once it's been uploaded on my OneDrive, I'll share it to you.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Any question, any doubts till now so far? Sanket?
no, sir.
Okay. Sanket, are you
No,
clear?
nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
clear till now.
Okay then. So fine, I'll share this file by evening and the recording files as well. Okay, so that you can practice these type of walls, so that once we start with the actual project, we know how we need to create the walls detailings. Okay, so we don't have to worry for them basically. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So I'll see you guys tomorrow now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.